René.
Yeah, thank you. It is a pleasure and an honor to speak for such a distinguished group of people. So when I came here, of course, I checked in and I took a glass of wine and I walked around. And actually, there was not a single individual in the room that I'd met before. Now, in the meantime, I do see a number of friends that I worked with in past years, but it's still a community which is not, let me say, completely natural to the kind of work that I'm doing. And maybe that's the reason for my presentation over here. So, boegbeeld, figurehead in English. Many people ask themselves, what the heck is a boegbeeld? And honestly, I myself have often a difficulty to understand that. And this is how my kids think about that. Now, this is one interpretation. Actually, what Economical Affairs or the Dutch government wants with the concept of boegbeeld is an individual who signals a number of developments, realizes that there is a need to put things on the agenda on a larger scale, and really get that going. You know about the top sector concept. Now, one of them is ICT. And when Kamp asked me 2 years ago to put this task, he said, I want 4 things to happen. I want a program on human capital, because yes, we all know that the amount of ICT experts in our country, in any country by the way, is very limiting to growth. He wanted a knowledge and innovation agenda, which we have created. He wanted a big program on big data, which by the way has started in the meantime, 2 times 20 million euros. And last but not least, he wanted to do something about branding, in the sense that ICT is not just the technology that ends up when at the front page of the newspapers when there's an issue at the belasting implementation. ICT also as an enabler of really new things, creating added value, rather than just very necessary but a little bit boring stuff. So what I want to do is discuss a breakthrough. I think that is the theme for the conference. And if you look at the dictionary, this is what you see: an important discovery or event that helps to improve a situation or provide an answer to a problem. Now, I worked for 30 years in the business that created hardware. We created chips. So Louis Luiten, one of my big friends over there, with ASML, enables other companies to create chips, which then end up in phones, in computers, and so on and so on. And my observation is that the level of cooperation in that part of the business is much, much more intense than it is at, shall I say, our side of the business, the ICT world, the digitization. And I ask myself why that is. Now, you all know about Moore's Law. I'm going to illustrate the level of cooperation in the hardware industry. Moore's Law was invented by Gordon Moore. It was actually a prediction of the speed with which chips would go faster, become cheaper, become more effective. And actually he said that every 18 months, every 1.5 years, all these indicators would improve by a factor of 2. Now, improving something by a factor of 2, if you do that 5 or 10, 20 times on a row, you make tremendous progress. And in order for Moore's Law to happen, this is the type of challenges that had to be solved. Lithography, the ability to print these chips, had to improve by orders of magnitude. Very, very disruptive. And how to do that? Now, nobody in the industry could do that by themselves. So what happened almost naturally is that the industry got together. And here, this is a picture of an actual network in Leuven, by the way, IMEC. And all these companies work together to create the next solution in lithography and the next solution in CMOS devices. And what kind of companies you see over there? At the lower end, you see people who are involved in materials, in resist, people who are involved in the very basics. There's equipment companies. You see ASML very prominently. There's also Synopsys, for those who recognize the logo. It's a company who makes CAD tools. Then if you go higher on the chart, you do see companies like Samsung, TSMC, Intel, NXP. Those are the guys who create product. And on top of that level, there's again another group of industry players who actually use their chips to bring something to the market. If you go to MediaMarkt, you buy their products. And the remarkable thing is that in this industry, all these guys worked nicely together in a common effort to make the next step in technology possible. Almost a natural cooperation between companies who at the marketplace are very strong competitors. And I think there's a big lesson to be learned. None of these companies could have done it by themselves, and yet by somehow finding a way to cooperate in a pre-competitive manner, that industry made it possible that indeed every 18 months you have a significant contribution. And now if I relate that to the challenge that we have here around the table, so the digital revolution, I don't see that type of natural cooperation, I don't see that at all. Now, if I replace Moore's law here by digitization, a huge challenge for all of us, and a great opportunity at the same time. And I mention here a number of blocks that help to implement that digital revolution. I ask myself, how do we get together with the relevant parties to get those things done? Let me dwell a little bit on one great technology that we see coming, blockchain. Blockchain is not a technology that brings any value if you push that out of the ICT domain. Blockchain needs companies who apply. Blockchain needs regulatory bodies. Blockchain needs identification, it needs security. Blockchain needs societies who really want to embrace it. If you think of blockchain in the concept of health, then you can just pick all those elements that I just mentioned and realize that we need to sit with all those guys to really make an implementation happen. Cybersecurity, the same story. We all talk about cyber. Why can't we do the equivalent of what has happened in the hardware world and find somehow a forum of different people, different companies, to really push that effort, that envelope. Now that's what I'm doing on behalf of Economical Affairs here in the Netherlands. And on big data, we have a significant community with academia, sometimes big companies, sometimes small and medium enterprises, societal bodies, where we take a number of these topics enabled by big data and implement them. Think about smart energy. Smart industry is an important one. We have a few of those. Now, so my challenge and my point to you is that we should have a number of tables where different walks of life sit together to create these type of solutions. What we have done out of my boegbeeld role, we have a big data platform in the meantime. We have an ICT professional human capital agenda. And we have a blockchain core competence center in a stage of construction. We do this because it's very easy to establish that the society at large, our country, your companies, need these type of skills. And my point to you, the CIO community, more than other communities in the digitization area, I don't feel you are very much involved in these type of initiatives. And I think it's really a pity. So, breakthrough. My breakthrough here tonight would find 10 companies who really feel that this cross-functional approach makes sense and are willing to take a next step. Thank you very much for your attention.
René Penning, de Vries.
There you go.
Thank you very much.